for Joss, but oh, I don't really know the other guy, so
Auburn, yeah. He's now Count. He was a king not that long ago.
that's what I thought. I just don't think I ever really interacted with him.
Right, right.
Why
Footage.
did you? What made you choose to fight Rapier instead of Heavy at that event?
The van was had a like all of the grinding up the fucking hills
Yeah.
for the Adult Swim weekend.
Hmm.
That caused something to explode in the van. I didn't know. I don't know what. And
Oh no.
so because it was shaking way more than normal. And
The
so
alignment or something?
no, I didn't hit anything, so it wasn't the wheels. It was in the engine. And so I got it diagnosed, and I think it was either coil or the either the coils or the what are those called, spark plugs. And so I ended up
Oh
changing
yeah,
the spark plugs and the coils, and now it's okay.
that's good. So you didn't have space to take heavy gear, or what was the
Yeah, so
reason?
we ended up driving Alex's car down the Ymir.
Okay.
So I probably would have fought heavy if I could have.
You can't figure heavy gear in Alex's car?
No, we took Ginny as well, so it's three
Uh,
people, and then heavy gear probably not.
okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Live now. What am I doing? Live now. Uh, Reviewing. JG. All right, next. I'm gonna post this, and then let me share it to the academy. Share it to a group. Academy. All right. Any advertising things are done. All right, we're good. We're good. So I need to pull up the footage. You want me to pull up Discord as well? The
Yeah,
Discord share?
fine.
Yeah, give me a sec
Yeah,
here.
just so I'm not like a little bit behind.
Yeah, that's fine. So youtube.com. Pull that over here. Yeah, I haven't watched any of the armored footage. I just posted it today.
I didn't watch your footage yet. I just watched Rob Gar's footage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I posted that just a little bit ago.
Where is Ymir for you to go? Like, isn't it? It's down south, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 hours. That was a long
Okay.
day trip.
You day trip out, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex was a trooper and drove the bulk of it.
Oh,
Largely,
wow.
I was going mostly I think mostly moral support because she's QC. It's kind of her obligation to
Okay.
be there.
Yeah. I've
I
I've
don't know that I would
been.
have chosen to go if she wasn't going.
She didn't have to have a reason to go. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I've gone to a lot of events for similar reasons. So.
yeah. It's as it goes.
Well, cool that you won the tournament still.
Thanks, man. That's 3 for 3. Did it.
Nice.
All
Pretty good
right.
record.
Let's look at some of this footage. I haven't looked at any of this. I'm gonna take a peek, see how it turned out. Hello, chat. Hope everyone's good this evening. We're gonna be doing some video review as soon as JG is able to get his Discord working and hop on.
Having technical difficulties apparently.
Yeah, that's it. Have you been working on anything?
Me?
Yeah, in your armored game
I've
since Adult
been.
Swim.
I went to practice on Tuesday. There was a couple fighters there.
Mm-hmm.
Just worked on normal stuff, and then I've been trying to like work on my fitness a little bit since Adult Swim because I felt like I gassed out faster than I wanted.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
So I've been running the
exhausting.
last 4 days. I went for a run. It's
Have
a
you been
short run.
doing like sprint work?
A little bit. Like I kind of like will do jogging, sprinting, and then like walking. Like I'm rotating through it. And it's kind of I'm trying to work up to it because it's kind of all I can do right now. But
Gotcha.
I'm definitely out of shape for that kind of workout.
I was like sprint hit is great.
Yeah,
Like you sprint as hard as you can for 10 seconds or something like that, or a
yeah,
certain distance, and then rest and try to get your
yeah.
heart rate to calm down. Just do it over and over.
And I know there's only so much you can do in like a couple weeks before Gulf Wars, but
Oh,
we'll see.
definitely.
Yeah,
Also, spear is different than sword and board. Like, really, melee is different than in
the
terms of
tourney.
muscle
Yeah,
usage than the tournament fighting. Yeah.
yeah. But since I've been doing all of it,
Right, right. I feel like spear is easier for me
interesting.
because my arms are low and they're not high, and I don't have to keep anything high up. Like a shield and a sword. And so my muscles, like my shoulders, don't burn out as fast, or biceps.
Hmm. That's a good point.
Um,
I find
yeah.
find spear and melee still to be a little more tiring than like pickups or tourney sword and shield. I think.
Maybe it's a style thing too.
Yeah,
You play very A range tank nowadays. Well, that's what you work on,
yeah.
certainly.
It's easy. Fighting an A range is way easier than fighting at sea.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's barely any movement. It's just kind of wait for the opportunity or initiate the opportunity to throw a combo. I've been trying to pell in a way that I'm accelerating some of my actions. Like if I do like an onside, offside, offside,
Hmm.
like maybe I go like a normal speed onside, a really fast offside, and then pause the second offside and then throw. Or then I'll switch it up where it's like really fast onside to a little bit slower offside intentionally, and then back to a whipping fast onside kind of Molinet.
So just putting a little stutter in the combo.
Yeah, changing the speed of the shot specifically,
Uh,
and having the ability to accelerate any one of the shots. Essentially, like anything that's overhead, right? Just an onside, offside of any sort. I want to be able to variably change that speed, so I can
yeah,
like tap offside, whip a real fast onside, high hand if I wanted to, right? Or whatever. The whole point is having the capacity to do that more than anything else.
I like that idea.
That is, oh, that's what I've been working on. I've been feeling kind of tired since Adult Swim.
Yeah, I get that too.
It's a long weekend.
I did help Miles get authorized for heavy. There was an event last weekend,
Nice.
and I got him. He got re. He'd been authorized once before, but it had been a long time, so we re-authed him. Um,
Is
and another rapier fighter, Fifi. You met Fifi maybe?
mm-hmm. I have.
Yeah. I gave them both the introductory butt whack
Mm-hmm.
to heavy fighting, which was fun.
Did you or are they both fighting at golf in armored?
That's their ideas. They would like to do. They like to do some of the melees.
Cool. So
Um,
our spear squad is growing.
yeah. Miles says he wants to do sword and shield because he wants to just go like and tackle dudes.
Oh, it's fun. Can his back handle that?
He's not sure, and he's also been dealing with a little bit of tennis elbow recently, so he might do spear instead because that would be a
Okay.
little easier on his arm.
I mean, tackling dudes is fun.
Yeah,
I
and
get
he's
it.
a pretty big guy, so like he gets to like in Rapier you don't get to use your size like in that same physicality. So
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah. It
he's like
is
I
a
want to
lot of
go do
fun.
the thing that's different,
Yep.
which I totally get, right? Like
Yo, I kind of want to. I want to fight him in armored. That sounds fun.
he's pretty new at it, so he's not great, but he's also not horrible, right? Like he's definitely way above like an average new fighter.
I feel like yeah, he by like necessity is higher because he has a fighting
Yeah,
background.
yeah,
Like there's some concepts that aren't like they're not new to teach. He just
and he
understands.
has his tennis background too, so he can actually hit decently hard.
Okay, like knows how to generate power
They
through the
generate the
stick.
power, yeah, because there's a lot of similar motions.
What is? Do you know what JG's name in Discord is?
No,
I don't either.
he seems like he's having problems.
What happened in your?
I know I've hung out with JG on Discord before, so like
I don't know if he's on my. I assume he's on my friends list, but I don't know. Let me see.
is there a way to like see all the people in the server? Show server
Oh, that's a good
list.
call. Um, I assume so.
Yeah, I found it.
Is it?
It's at the top right. There's like two little dudes, and it
Oh.
says hide. It says
Oh,
member
show member
list.
list, and that's the server member list. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't get that side thing to open up, like to widen enough for me to read it.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty narrow.
Yeah, I was like, I
To be
can't
fair.
on my desktop. I just get one letter for most of the names, and then their icons certainly.
What would his
Uh,
name be on here?
oh no, I was looking for a JG, but if I could pull that somehow, that'd be nice. Like there's no dragging that over.
A cope.
Like you are just J dot 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 on the sidebar.
Yeah.
Chat, we will get started in just a bit. We're trying to get JG up in this server.
Yeah. We're having the normal fun trouble. I don't see him on here.
Is that JG? Okay.
There's JJ. Not someone else, right?
Yeah, that's J. That's somebody else. Let me see if I can friend him.
It's that JG.
What is his? Or do you know how to friend people?
No.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Friends.
All right. I see him. Create invite. Uh,
He's on the other.
yep.
Can you move him over?
Let me see if I can add friend.
You should be able to just grab his, click on his name and drag it into
Oh,
this.
hey, look
Yeah.
at that. Power. I wield power. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yep,
Yep.
you're good. Let me adjust you. Can you speak again for me, please?
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries.
I never installed Discord on my new computer.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's all good.
It downloads pretty quick, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let me turn
How
down
are
the
you guys?
volume.
We're good.
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 I'm excited
Man,
about golf. I'm ready to go fight for a
m-
week.
me too. There were like 25 people at Ponte Alto practice tonight.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
It was
Armored
out of
as well
control.
as rapier? Or
It was just rapier.
oh, that's a ton.
25 rape. That's a huge practice.
That's a huge
It
practice.
was very overwhelming.
What did people come invade from other areas?
It was Caitlin showed up
Mm-hmm.
randomly, and then outside of her, we had all of the regular Ponte Alto people show up at the same time. And then we
Nice.
had two new people, and then Scott and Ellie showed up again.
Nice.
And then we had two sort of newish people that showed up again too. But outside of that, it was just all the normal people. Oh, and Akime showed up.
Cool. That's
So
great.
if you take away like the random people, I think it would have been around 16 or 17 people anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
That's really awesome.
Oh, that's good stuff. People are excited about fighting.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right. You ready for this?
I'm so psyched.
All right. So, chat, we're going to review the footage from Ymir. We'll watch all of them since it's a total of 6 minutes of footage. And John, if you want to pilot your opinions, please do.
My
I'm also
opinions.
sharing screen for both of you in Discord so that you can see stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm going to leave volume off unless we need to
Yeah.
hear something in particular.
Um, so this is between Boomy, you, right? And who are you fighting?
Jean Claude. And
Oh, this fight's
this,
so interesting.
so to give you context, Chat and John, we did a Bedford points tournament. So it is a matchmaking system where after a few rounds, you tend to end up with the people who are in roughly the same amount of points that you have. And what they did was, I think it was for roughly 40 participants for the Bedford tournament, and they took the top 8 scores and pushed them into a seeded final. And this is 1v8. I'm coming in at the highest score of the Bedford portion of the tournament.
Of course.
And then the top 8 is going to be single elim. single passing all of them. Oh, with a fancy death. Their Majesties wanted specifically a separate competition of being the fanciest death. And chat will reveal who won if you don't know after watching all of them. All right.
Which
Off we go.
which chat am I looking at right now?
Which chat are you looking at right now?
Do you want to? Boomy's streaming on Twitch, right? So if you
Oh,
look,
baby.
so if you open up his Twitch, you can read if people are chatting,
Yep. I was just talking to chat in
which
general.
they're not really right now. Yeah,
Correct. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Off we go.
Ever met this fighter you're fighting before?
Jean-Claude is a white scarf from way back when. Because when I first
Pretty
started,
good
he was
death.
a white scarf. That was a
Pretty
good
good death.
death. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we see that again? It looked like you just kept range and poked him, but
Yeah, he jumped in here. Let me give you a 50%. Playback speed, 50%. Off we go.
So Jean-Claude's strategy is to goad normally is to goad his opponent into his measure in order to hit them with a strong counter blow.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, can't do that against an opponent like Boomy. So he started to move forward, it looked like, with his refused with his dagger arm forward in order to close on Boomy's rapier.
Yeah, trying to run, trying to grab it. Yeah, right there.
And there it is. Yep.
Yeah. The problem
yeah.
is I picked up his blade because he threw twice overhand in one. And here, he has not managed to pick up my blade.
I think also you were also keeping good measures, Boomy too. Like I don't even you might not have even needed to parry that. Like you were out of he might not have landed like like is doubly safe. I guess is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, definitely. Always.
Like I do like they look like you tried to throw a foot shot here though.
Yeah, I did. So to give context, the first thing I did was to poke high or to flip my blade high just to see what he would do. It's like right here. So he's moving a lot. I'm just kind of like, okay, if I go low, the foot shot, he does that with his sword. If I go high, his dagger flicks up. So now I have the
Your little
information that I need. That was it. And now from here, I'm like, okay, maybe I can get him to allow me to throw. Yeah, that's me kind of testing how fast his dagger is. One of the things that I try to do is if they allow me to get my dagger underneath their sword, I'll take a free foot shot. It's a very torse thing. So it was where I picked it up
Oh
originally.
yeah.
But yep, everything else we know about.
Very textbook.
All
Got
right,
chased.
who's ready for the longest 4 minutes of their life?
All right,
JG's
JG.
on the left, and then
Yeah.
who are you fighting?
Joshua.
Yeah, someone named Joshua that I don't know. They're a good fight. They played
Am I
well.
allowed to commentate as we go through this
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
first one, or just
Yeah,
let people
tell
watch?
me what you were thinking, what your goals
Cool.
were, what you saw.
So I had RSV and was recovering from the viral portion of RSV this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So my strategy was very different than it normally was. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be as relaxed as humanly possible and see how far I go as this tournament." And then somehow ended up in the top eight. Um, so at this point, I had fought Joshua twice in the pools, and I noticed that he was holding this scorpion guard, and he was using that as a trap for a right-handed opponent to be able to sweep with the dagger and follow through with the sword. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got these big swooping motions with his sword that he does. The way that I keep my sword angled, I was trying to goad him into overcommitting across my weapon so I could have a nice, easy follow up and counter tempo. And he knew and wasn't giving it to me. And had just decided, well, I'm gonna just be fucking stubborn and force him to give that to me no matter what I need to do. So you'll see throughout this several dozen shots high in order to try and push him to attack across my weapons. And
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to pick him up with my sword, but just kept not being able to get the measure and the tempo correctly. So I would reset, I would fire a probing shot again, and I was trying to get him to drag his sword over. And then eventually, as time went on, I changed my strategy to let's get him to move his dagger over so he's in an uncomfortable counter guard, and then I can take advantage of that and pass through his weapon.
When you say get him to throw his sword, do you mean his outside, and then you would parry to your outside and counter throw?
Either one, it doesn't matter to me. In that point, I just wanted some amount of blade contact coming over the strong of my weapon.
Okay, got it.
Um, if it's outside or inside, it does not matter to me.
Okay, so you wanted main blade contact to play. There.
Yes, and in the event that I wouldn't get it, what I would normally do is I would proceed forward with the dagger. The way that he was manipulating his sword, I just didn't feel safe doing that close, especially the health that I was in. So I just took um, the super boring way out and just continued to probe over and over and over again.
That's fine. I think in a tournament setting, it is better, right? It is it is master of defense, right? That's the whole the whole
Yeah.
idea. So
Yeah,
you surviving
Whatever
is priority.
whatever gets you the win. It doesn't really matter
Hmm.
how long it takes.
Yep.
he was, and to give some mechanically, Joshua was doing a really great job of neutralizing my small steps into measure.
Hmm.
And over time, he eventually began to give up. Oh my goodness, that was close.
I was gonna say in this particular moment, I'm surprised. So this is the thing I would change because you could have punished him on this. He was very
I
committed
could
to
Yeah.
this.
yeah, I could have lifted with the dagger and hit him counter tempo right there. And instead, I whiffed out.
But what I think happened is he throws very quickly in that measure, and I think that if you added that small backstep, right? I preach that small backstep parry.
Yeah,
Here
the
you stood up because out of surprise, right? Like your body
yeah,
literally elevated.
sheesh, so close.
Yeah, and as opposed to like the planning on that small step back and trusting
Yeah,
your dagger to save you between the step and the dagger. Because I think if
I
you
had not
stood back and
expected that
load,
level of commitment. If you look at his feet too,
yeah, he's very
it's
lean forward,
like,
full lean.
yeah,
Yep.
in an ideal world, you're absolutely right, Boomy, delivering, you know, uh, what this nerd calls the remitary to Spada, either
Okay.
taking a small step back and following through with the gain weapon or leaning my body back to pick
Right.
that up. I think you're right. I would have totally closed and gotten that.
Um, John, how do you when you see this guard right here?
Hmm.
What is your go to pick apart?
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
I would definitely try to. I feel like I would pick his dagger hand as like just an easy. I'll at least try it
Mm-hmm.
because he looks like he just has a ring dagger. It's really forward. His arm
Mm-hmm.
looks a little stiff, so I don't think he's gonna move his hand super well.
Yeah, and you know he's sweeping down because of the dagger
Yeah,
Yeah.
position. There's no other
so I feel like
place.
it's a pretty safe opener to just like try to pick the hand.
Yeah, no.
Unless I'm lining up with my sword arm to his dagger arm, that means that I have to reach across his body in order
Yeah,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
attack the
From a
because
lefty
dagger.
point of view, it's bad, I think.
yeah, I
But
agree
it
with
is generally it's a good move. What spooked me from that in this run was because it was so high.
Mm-hmm.
It felt to me like it was his version of an invitation, and I did do a couple, I think, but it just felt like I was exposing the left side of my body too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Because you're
I mean, I
trying
would
to
also
give some back.
probably do a high low.
Yeah,
Like obviously his hand is high, so he's gonna
and
be used to parry down, but
yeah.
it doesn't mean it's still not open.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's also lefty righty versus righty
Oh
righty.
boy. And as the camera pans over to the right, you can see Master Raph's super judgmental face too.
Yep.
Everybody at home, I hope you enjoy that. Um,
Yeah.
but then during this point, I started to notice that he was both getting tired and was starting to get impatient and give up more. And
Yep.
this is when I knew it was my time to take tempo and strike. So for this next motion, I follow through and make a very risky move. I thought I had his dagger, much like your opponent, lost it. He follows through, hits me above in my left shoulder area. I follow through with the dagger hit. We discuss, and he's like, I felt like I hit you closer to your back than your shoulder. And at that point, it's like, nah, I'm not going to argue with you. So yeah, see, there it is. There's the tip right there coming over, glancing off of my shoulder and pulling up out of my
The
scarf.
pink tip right here. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you see a little smudge.
That is hard to tell where that lands from this camera angle as to whether it is shoulder or back.
yep.
That's
And at that point, I was like, hey, I'm in the place where my dagger follow through is a late-ish hit. Like, how do you want to do this? And he
Right,
said,
right.
we're both dead. And I said, nah, we're both dead.
I think that's a
But
very
if he was
reasonable
like,
way.
nah, I hit you and that was afterblow, I would have been like, legit.
Right, right.
I think it's totally a good way to handle it. I think a refight is probably reasonable here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
for me,
cleaner.
again, even if he was like, no, I don't want to refight, I think you're dead. I mean, no skin off of my back, literally. And if he
Yeah.
felt like it was a legitimate blow with the marshals,
Mm-hmm.
no way, Jose. But at this
Looking at
point, look at my super undramatic death. We're like, all right, let's waste a little bit less people's time. At this point, I understood where I had him and knew how I could bait his sword in order to get that dual tempi action that I wanted.
Yep.
So wait for the follow through. He makes that big jump back. I get closer into his measure, come in with the dagger, and then as he begins to close out, I follow through and maintain the
Yep.
blade control that I
And you
like so
kept
much.
blade control way better at that time. Yeah. Over the course
Exactly.
of this fight, I watched you learn how to pick up his sword with your dagger to the outside,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your dagger
and it
outside.
took the way that my opponents, especially on that side, will pump fake like that. It
Mm-hmm.
does take in the moment to figure out where is this going to go for me to get that contact that I need.
Right, right, right. Absolutely.
Oh boy, Tiberius
Yeah.
Turlock. Here we go.
John, for that particular opponent, I found that at least in our warm up set, that the most open was the predictable dagger. Instead of the hand, it's just because the dagger necessarily comes down across the front. You can play
Hmm.
off of that. So I
Yeah.
can
That's
pump,
kind of what.
freeze in front to throw through, like the Mike style, Miguel style.
Hmm.
You can pump and then turn the angle to the outside because the dagger stops at a certain point, if that makes sense. Like the hand only
Yeah,
rotates
yeah.
so much. So you can just
So
seed that and guard the other side. Or I can throw it and drop it right underneath because I can kind of see where his tip is going to end. Go right underneath up into the hip.
Yeah.
I played with all
No,
of
that's
those.
that's after a hand pick, that is kind of what I would have, I think, looked at, especially since his arm looked stiff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a little locked out. But that said, the guy's very fast. It's not like he's no
Hmm.
slouch even in that position.
he knows my fight too.
He knows your yeah.
Yeah,
Has he seen
we've
it before?
sorry, we can talk about it later.
I was like, I don't know the person, so I had no book on them.
Yeah.
So
I don't
case
know.
on
I know
case.
neither of these fighters either.
This
Uh,
is
yep.
on the left is Tiberius. He is a white scarf in Atlantia. On the right is Turlock. He is a free scholar. So for those at home, that is this middle of the road kind of between Sea Dragon and White Scarf that is not actually an award in Kingdom. It's just a guild rank.
Um,
And Sea Dragon is an AOA for
is
fighting
an AOA.
range.
Yep.
Yep.
Tiberius, in my opinion, is one of the like of the people present, one of the best present in fighting at using single sword. His single sword is very strong, and I have no desire to tangle with his blade to blade.
Yeah.
He's got a
I
shorter
think
and very fast blade.
I think what Tiberius struggles with is once his opponent is not offering him that ability to take the line with his sword,
Yeah,
his follow up.
he did it really good. Just you see the double sweep, the double
Yeah.
from his
Yeah,
offhand.
it's a good cross.
Yep, and then he
Cross
just
with the
Um,
left.
I think he disengages into another universe, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like
Sure does.
pathing wise, right? Pathing wise, that tip should basically drop and go. Like this should be
Yeah.
like that
Well,
nice slight,
I don't
slight
think
arc
it
down
should
at
be
the
that
end.
high to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agreed.
If you
Agreed. That's fair. That's fair.
if you look at the start of this fight too, you can tell with Turlock's body language that he's just uncomfortable being up in front of this many people.
Oh, just
he's
the
he's
nerves of it
stiff.
all. Yep.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Yep. Tournament mindset. Chat. We're doing a tournament mindset stream on this coming Saturday evening.
Saturday, yeah,
Look
in
at
a
that.
few days.
Good plug. Good transition. Go me. All
Yeah.
right. Continuing on.
Nailed it. First time.
Um, yep. Yeah, he does that big sweep down. He could have
Yeah.
shaved off half again that time just by making that more efficient.
Yeah.
That
It just
said, he's lightning on between his feet and his main blade, so it's not like it didn't
yeah.
work. It
Yeah.
worked
I mean,
just fine.
that was still a really good move. It just could have been better,
Um,
even better.
for context, John and Chat, Enmar and Alfar are both here at my local practice, and they happen to place fourth and fifth, which I think is funny. in
So
the tournament.
funny.
So they got matched to each other.
Yeah, I do know both of these fighters, and I have fought them actually both many times over the years. And Enmar is your cadet, right?
Correct. And Mars my cadet.
For Chad to know.
Yeah. Which is
Which
why he
makes
looks
him
a little bit more like me over time.
Makes him Alessandro's Grand Cadet and Harper's Great Grand Cadet.
That is
Correct. Correct.
that is
All
true.
true.
It's important. I have to. My contract legally binds me to mention that every time that I hear.
Let people
Yes.
know their generation. That's how that goes. I don't know how your graduating class will line up with his. Like, are we on the same graduating class, or you one after me?
Who?
You.
I don't know, man.
Like, I don't know how that works.
So
I don't
an,
know
the
how it
next
works
generation.
either.
an SCA generation's about 3 to 5 years. So
No. I'd say you're like next generation in terms
I'm
of
in,
like delineation of
if I
fighter.
am, I'm at the very, very tail end.
No. Yeah, 5
Yeah, I
years.
think
5 years in my head is like an SCA gen.
yeah. Yeah, I think JG is just another generation from Boomy would be what I would.
There it is.
Yeah, very pretty play. He's good at exploding forward with that.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
getting
look
the
at
mindset of each fighter, since they have fought a bajillion times. That first intention is really crucial between Enmar and Ulfar, and it's
Yeah.
going to change the outcome of the fight unless Enmar actually comes forward and tries to find with the weapon there. Because Enmar is the out of measure single, or excuse me, the two tempi. I'm either going to snipe you in measure or I'm going to take you out on the post.
Yep, he does. Doesn't. He did a really good. So what he did here for chat, entry step with an immediate dagger parry. Right, he entry stepped to where he has the measure to touch dagger just to sword. Does a parry down on Alfar's sword, and Alfar's like, "Oh shit, my weapon's getting bound, and he's coming in at me." So he brings his dagger up, trying to defend himself up. The difference here. So Ulfar brought his sword all the way to the outside, right? He's basically flicking it into 4. I would have probably cross parried with my dagger right here. Kind of punched it across low underneath my sword arm as I'm attacking. He Enmar prefers main blade work, so you can see him automatically going to that kind of outside parry with his guard.
With the head void too.
With the head void. Yep, that's very much like his moveset, which I think is cool. Like we execute similar concepts differently. The thing I don't like about the head void is great. In this context, the sword, I don't like using it because it's too horizontal, right? If you imagine that dagger has much better lower coverage, such that if Ulfar had gone low and into the belly, it would still have been covered.
Also, I don't like that his dagger was trailed a little bit. There was a section where after he parried, as he stepped, his dagger came back towards his left hip instead of staying forward. It's just a split second, and then he brings it back forward again.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yep. Yeah, instead of keeping it, like I said, I would have punched it across and done everything else he did.
Yeah.
They're saying right here, it's good extension on both implements.
Yeah.
Right here.
And then right there.
Yeah. Yep. I think he flipped it up to hunt for the sword, like automatically.
Yeah. I think even if he was still going to choose the sword parry, his dagger could still be more forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Which would have given him the option to use either hand instead of have to use the sword.
Yeah, like by this frame, the dagger, he's covering high, but I think that it's unnecessary if you're going to drop this low. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't need to drop. He could have not dropped quite as low.
Either drop or use dagger, or put dagger low with the drop.
Yeah,
I think it's like a mechanical response of his, right?
Yep.
When he comes outside, or excuse me, when he goes in that second.
Mm-hmm.
It's still so. That was a good attack. This we're being very nitpicky and up for like a high level.
Yeah.
How could you be?
I mean, that's why we're
better?
here, right? We're here to be nitpicky and judgy.
Yeah.
It does make you as literally as safe as you can be.
Yeah, it is as safe as you could possibly get me. All right, chat. We're gonna watch this at speed, so people understand how fast it actually moved.
Yeah.
It was not. It was not slow.
It was very anime too.
Very explosive. Yeah, he gets
okay,
low.
baby.
All right. JG, take it away. Let me
The
know.
the fight
your
I went
thoughts.
home with in my head for 5 hours. So my strategy, and I mean this is probably going to be pretty obvious to the group here. When I fight Boomy, my goal first and foremost is to neutralize Boomy's sword. If I'm able to neutralize Boomy's sword, then the what will become a one intention kill against me with Boomy then has to become multiple intentions. He must move his sword out of presence and back into presence, or do whatever he has to do mechanically to get in. So that's step one. Step two is getting into measure with a strong, I believe you guys call it entry,
I call it
in
an entry
order,
step or a
yep,
penetration step.
in order to make that entry
Mm-hmm.
safely without alarming Boomy to the point that he must retreat, but also avoiding any mechanical failure that I'm going to make in between those two steps. So I must, again, so one cover sword, two entry. And that's where we're at right now, is lining that up. I was right there. I've been working my posture a bit, and I've been a little bit more out at an angle versus leaning forward. And that moment for me, I was ecstatic
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
the first half of a Remitary to Spada right there.
Okay.
So at that point,
I
my
was like,
confidence shot up to 1 billion because
honestly, not
that,
not too many people survive a redouble. Like a one,
yeah.
not many people survive the one shot, and then with the redouble, it's like,
So that to me, that's measure control, and
yep,
that
really
lets me
good measure
know
control.
that the place that I am within my opponent's measure
Mm-hmm.
is a place that they're either not comfortable with or they have to use some motion in order to attack through.
And you
So I
saw
said,
my
"Fuck
exit
yeah,
on that one because I was like, once I redoubled, I was like, nope, I don't want anything else. I've
exactly."
committed way too hard to this, and you're too close.
So at that point, I found both what is ideal measure and what is like your uncomfortable but your true wide measure,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from this point, my goal was to very, very, ever so slowly get to the point where my opponent is close to the list fence, where they notice but they're not moving. But I lost my moment right there. So close. I lost control
Yeah,
with
yeah.
my dagger, tilted my body back, and then tried to lean forward into the blow, and I was too late.
I think so. Right here, based on the angle that we see,
That's
I
it.
th- I think this dagger could be trained to stop.
It
And
should that dagger should be forward. It should not be out right now.
right, you put so much into that parry that it went, I would say, like 4 frames too wide. Right,
Yes,
like
I
it
agree.
kept
And
traveling.
if you look at my feet,
Yeah.
um, if
Like
you
it should
go
be right in
back
front of
like
that lady's face, not next to her.
if you go back to like 4 frames too,
Yep.
and you see where my foot is,
Yeah.
I had when you had fired in with that deep lunge, my expectation was going to be that it was going to be a bit shorter, and I lost my footing. I had the angle
Oh.
correct.
Oh, I see.
I had
This
the
back
measure
foot.
wrong.
You're talking about this
Yep.
back foot,
So there it
yeah.
goes.
Okay. You had a
Yes.
little
So
bit
at
of
that point, but because of the way that my feet were weighted, the only way I had to go was forward.
yeah, yeah. You hard committed here.
Yes. So we follow through, we briefly get bound, and then you yield out with your sword,
Yep.
and my reach with the dagger is too late. Way too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep measure here to give me room to
Yep,
work
so
with
there
that
it
sword.
is, and then that's when you lay in.
Yeah.
So I'm coming forward at this point, and I'm trying, but the kill's already there, and I go, I'm dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I stop.
Yeah. I'm trying to get out of your uppercut.
Yeah,
But you got
I'm
it. I
like,
mean, you
this
got
is,
it here.
yep, uh-huh.
I almost fade out, and then I don't quite fade all the way out.
There's no need to. Yeah.
Nevertheless, I don't
So
like being follow up stabbed. Still
and
unfun.
I'm very happy to share my strategy for this
Yeah, yeah.
for next time. So my plan moving forward is I'm going to is to use my sword as more of a as more of a tool to neutralize your sword in the post
Yes.
and be able to direct my dagger over much more effectively. That posture that I'm doing, if you go back where I'm leaned over a bit on my sword, I think that's sound. What needs to happen now is I need to press the mechanical advantage on the sword and follow through your weapon and continue that slow, deliberate movement forward. None of this stoppy, garbagey
Right,
stuff.
right. That makes sense.
So I'm very happy about that. I think that, especially how close it was after fighting you 3 consecutive times, I went home thinking about that fight a lot. Was pretty happy.
Good. John,
Yes.
what would you add? Like, if you were in JG's position right here, what would you choose to do? Assuming you're a lefty as well, not you're not you.
Yeah. Um. Lefty is weird.
Thanks.
I mean,
That's objectively
I
true.
would honestly probably try like. So if me as a I am a lefty. Like if I was a lefty, I would still probably try a foot shot.
Of course you would.
And a foot shot as a lefty actually works fine because actually it's even a little closer
Yep, yep.
It is.
than
The
because you're
trade-off is it's a little bit closer in your shoulder head region too.
yeah. Um, but most people, if you do a little stutter on the foot, most people have a really slow reaction. Even high-end fighters
Yeah.
don't throw at the head as much as you would think. Everyone just says hit someone in the head, but depending on where their blade is, you can still do it.
I
Um,
found I've also found that instead of aiming for the foot, you can aim for the kneecap.
yeah, kneecap's also a really good one too.
Hmm.
But honestly, I think I would try to the other thing, if I wasn't gonna do the foot shot, I would try to bring both of my hands into play against Boomy's sword, rather than um, like really shut him down with and using the sword and dagger to create a big wall.
Yeah.
Um,
The
uh,
the issue that I run into with that is as you then close, unless I'm able to free my sword, that does mean that Boomy has a free dagger hand.
yeah, no, I'm very aware of that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's a sweet spot where you form the wall for the entry, right? Because consider John's height, right? Like he has to go to get to me, but when he does it, he definitely does it in a way where he forms a very strong wall into my weapon on that first step. But before he reaches the measure where I can touch him with my dagger, he's already put his sword back into play to win that middle measure, like where
Yeah,
he can
yeah.
touch me with his blade and I can't quite get to him with my dagger. And he's very good about it. Watching it frame by frame, like wow, that's a really that's a smart way to play.
I mean,
Yeah, so
not to say that I don't fuck up and run into
oh,
Boomy's dagger sometimes.
everybody fucks up all the time. To
Yeah.
say that fencing is a super meta 70 step thing, we'd all
Yeah,
be lying to to
yeah,
Twitch. Um, but no, I was happy walking away from that and think that there are just a couple of more pieces that need to fall into place and have been working those lately. So I'm very excited for Gold
yeah.
Wars.
uh,
Um,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Boomy, what do you? Maybe this is not the right time for this question, but like, what do you think is the correct strategy to fight you? Like, how do you, when you lose, what does people do that beats you?
Oh man. The biggest thing that I get beat on is, um, I think consistently, is getting attacked at my hip line in a second or third intention where you've convinced me that you're going somewhere else.
Okay.
All that has to happen while the attack is like the sequence has started, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When I watch footage of me and Tora, he catches me very consistently, kind of midline hip area. Like I'm very well defended high and low, and so
Yeah.
he does like a kind of an S shape with his tip, going from the outside to the inside. But he convinces me that he's going to throw over my dagger or just drop under my dagger. But he actually brings it all the way down to center line before he throws through. I was watching that to you that one time you visited for a little bit.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I
I would
was like,
agree with that.
I think my middle line is more open. That said, at this um, uh, caliber of fighting, there's nothing that's free. All of it is like how do
No,
you
no.
set up somebody to beat
It's
them?
obviously way easier said than done.
Yeah, yeah,
But I always think it's interesting to ask, especially very high-end fighters,
yeah. That's
like, if you were gonna give someone advice on how to fight you, what would you tell them?
2 years ago. I would have said hit my foot while my blade was
Yeah,
still high.
I would have said that too.
Yeah. Eckhart, do you mean like when you say I like knee over feet? Does that mean you like targeting the knee as opposed to the feet? I think that's what you mean. Let's see.
I assume that's what he
Oh
means.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a closer target for everybody in chat. Your knee is
they're
closer.
both very good targets. It just depends on the person's guard and also your own height.
Yes.
Like I think the footwork shot works better for me because I'm shorter,
Yep.
and it doesn't work as well for taller fighters because
Yep.
they have to literally have to reach farther.
Uh,
Yeah,
for
you always have to
everybody
keep
in
in mind how much you're going to bend in order to do that.
yes,
Yeah.
for everybody in chat, anytime someone is reaching toward your knee or your foot, always remember they have to extend their arm into your measure. That has to happen, like physically has to happen. So there's always counterplay. Don't feel like there's no counterplay to someone else's foot shot.
Yeah, there's no perfect shot.
Yep. You can put your tip in the path of travel and just take their sword arm. And a sword person without their arm is or their main arm, I think is more diminished than someone without their feet, arguably.
I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah.
I suppose it depends on the fighter, right?
It really depends on the fighter.
I don't know. Do you think I'm more diminished without my arm or my foot? Or my movement?
Your foot.
Okay.
Because I feel you're still like fucking. Your range control is really good, and you're very quick on your feet.
Yeah.
So your left hand doesn't need to be very good
Yeah,
To
to
deliver the
still
blow.
set up a lot of good offense
Yeah,
and
yeah.
or
That's
like
fair.
defensive actions.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
would much rather
Or-
fight you on the
yeah.
ground
Okay.
than like. I mean, I still think. I mean, I give myself like pretty good odds to win either one, but I think I would feel really comfortable with you on the ground, and if you were left-handed, I would be like, feel kind of annoyed to have to chase you
Okay.
down.
Okay.
I feel the exact opposite. I feel.
Okay. I like that. I like to see. We got some differing
That's
opinions in
interesting.
here.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean,
So you,
and I think that I mean, in order to when I hit an opponent in the leg, I normally do that with the intention to immediately hit them in the body or also the arm as quickly as humanly possible.
right. Make it
Because
within tempo.
yeah, because what the conundrum you get into, and I think the biggest one is hubris. When somebody is on the ground like that, you're like, I got you. Um, and that creates this thing in your brain where you're getting way closer than you should be because you don't think that there's measure that your opponent has that might be hidden,
Hmm.
that maybe they can lean back 4 feet with their body. um, so for me, I'd rather take the sword arm and then have to fight that opponent, and even if they are going to full retreat, they're not as mechanically strong and I have 2 weapons, like, let's go.
Right. Okay. Differing opinions. Chat. Let me know if you would rather take my legs or take my arms or my sword arm.
Yeah, I want to
I'm
know
kind of
which part
curious.
of Boomy's
Um,
body we would all rather take.
f- uh,
Rather take
Firestorm.
his
I would
head.
fully agree with that. A couple of years ago, in that my like mid to high guard play left my legs or specifically my foot way more exposed for a lot of people. All right, continuing on, we have semifinals. This is Enmar and Tiberius.
Type here is. Oh, that was fast.
That was a fast one.
Let's see. Oh, good read.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's all it was. It was I think a redouble that was like more hopeful than. No.
Yeah, I mean, I see what he's trying to do. Like the sword was a little his off sword was low to
Let's see if we
guard
got
that low guard, so he tried to throw high to the head.
Yep.
But I think he gets a little too close before, or he gives some tell on it.
I think it's just
And
too slow. There's
Tigers.
too much time in between.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the context of fencing, it's not a lot of time in general, but
right
he throws
there.
straight center line. So this is my critique on Tiberius. I've told him as much. He stands way too high on his retreat. That's how I kill him. Right here,
Yeah.
he's very upright.
Oh, you get him to stand up and then
I
hit
get him
again.
stand up but I don't full commit the way Enmar did in the first action. I'm just stepping
Yeah.
in, right? Stepping in, elicit the reaction, then
I mean-
disengage or capture or whatever. Do the thing
Yeah.
to get access to the body and actually kill.
Yeah, right now his body's super open.
Yeah,
That's
his
where
body's
he's
very
stepped.
open. Yep. I think what Enmar could have done better, and this is something him and I have worked on a bit, is this entry could have been a jump step as opposed to a too much of a lunge. I think it was a little too much of a lunge. Like he could have pushed
Yeah.
harder off the back foot, landed his front foot in one motion closer.
Yeah. He also he kind of throws the same shot twice here,
Yeah.
which is partly why he read it
Just
well.
too
I
long
think.
of a pause. Yep. Just
Yeah,
Yep.
if you if you look in kind of in the beginnings and the ends of Enmar's lunge, I think there's a significant time difference from when he's, especially because it looks like he's trying to make up some measure with his leap.
You're right. Yep. Yep. Let's watch
And I
that one
think that's
time.
where Tiberius catches him in this situation.
He's able to read it too
Enmar
easily.
sets up, yes, because he has both feet off of the ground for a minute,
Yeah.
is also off balance there.
Yep.
And I know that feeling all too well because you want to commit to be able to. You can also see him crumbling in the process. Good death, Mr. Good death. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
I
see
think
that
that
opportunity, you try to take it, yeah, and and then time kind of just goes out the window.
his this is for a lot of people. So many people in the SCA, I think, learn what a good deep lunge is very early on, but then use it a lot more than I think should be used in functional fighting. Right? A lot more big step, jump steps, as opposed to the deep lunge as an immediate action.
Yes, I agree with that.
Finals. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Dom. He really did think that he was going to take another step back, but he just did the read, picked it up. I think of riding the shot or less time in between might have yielded a better result. But I also think the first one would have landed had the initial step been a larger jump forward and not as much of a step with a lunge.
Yeah. I think he also should have thrown to the sword side, like gone under the offhand or
Yeah.
over the offhand and thrown more to the sword side.
Yep.
That would have been harder to defend and riposte off of as well.
This is for everybody in chat. When your opponent has essentially case, the center line is a lot easier to access.
And this is somewhere between case and long dagger, I guess.
I think that's here's the difference is like my entry,
There it is.
like I'm looking to really you see I'm like still very upright. I'm not very much I'm not really lunging. I'm jump stepping. It's true, but I also believe that everybody can jump step forward to a great effect. It is not just my leg length, but is the skill of doing that action. I think that people underutilize that tactic. So like I'm jump stepping forward more than I am like lunging properly with the lean. I'm still upright, which means I get to redouble right away and start to force action.
I mean, I would still call what you did a lunge. It's just a shorter lunge.
Yeah, it's a lunge, but with that jump as this starting point. This is what I
Yeah.
noticed. I picked up that cue again. He kind of stands a little bit more upright. He's looking to parry
Yeah,
and
I think
clear me out.
Tiberius, I think what the mistake that he made was actually not proceeding forward in
Yes.
that tempo when you were doing that redouble,
Yep.
because it's a Dom is right. It's a big distance, right? And because he leaned back and reset, now he's in parity with you again, and that's not some place that Tiberius is used to being in. He does have the measure, and he has the blade now in order to neutralize that stuff. So now he's not knowingly hanging out right in your kill zone.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is.
You like my ad? I thought it was clever.
That was
Yeah.
pretty funny. I was really confused when I watched this the other day myself.
I put it with
First,
somewhere that I thought would be like unexpected. Anyways.
yeah.
So he proceeds forward, and throws. I think his one advance, but he stops the pursuit very quickly.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
And hung out in the measure. That was a straightforward.
I would also say that the other thing that Boomy's doing here in these his attacks, he's covering the right-handed blade with his dagger through the action very well, better than Enmar was doing also.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. But also, yeah, I think you're right. Like I'm always looking to be just inside of this blade, always locking it out. Doesn't matter where it goes.
Yeah, like even if they don't throw a shot, you just should generally have your offhand in front of their sword most of the time, or as much as possible.
Oh,
And
I,
Boomy's doing a good job of keeping that traction going.
this wasn't a one shot. This is just juking somebody. Okay, so chat, I want to give you what probably the shot I do the most and has the most return on my investment in terms of a sequence, which is a small step forward, bring my tip high. So in their brain, the last thing they see before I launch is my tip going high, and so automatically they're going to parry up with their offhand. In this case, it's the swagger, and I disengage low when I actually launch. Probably a bigger disengage than I wanted. But you see that I stole the inside from here, and off we go.
Yeah.
And it's covering the outside line.
Very
It's
pretty.
I think you are. Thanks, man. I think you're right. Most fighter starts or get contact with their blade near stick. Yeah, that's it. I think you're right, Dom. That kind of control of measure, like putting your body in the right place. Thank you. Putting your body in the right place in context to your opponent, measure wise, is the trick. Is a big part of the trick.
Yeah, and a lot can go for saying, or excuse me, a lot can be said about getting getting your opponent noticeably uncomfortable too,
Yeah.
and if it's compromising position with measure that they're not used to.
I wanted
But there it is. Yeah,
him to
like the
feel in this set, this early part, to feel uncomfortable. I just really wanted him to as I'm poking and kind of prodding, just you see how he flinches up and back. I just wanted
there
that
it
to be
is.
there a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, I agree. His offhand was not adapting to where my sword placement was. It's always
Exactly. And I
chasing,
think that
trailing.
he
Good
was
call.
having trouble recognizing how to correctly cover that line.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to, right? Like with the offhand sword, right? Short sword. It just doesn't move as fast as a dagger does, and can't get into spaces that a dagger can get into. And that's one of the big differences, I think.
That's why you should fight stick.
Yeah, yeah. Or you could be a dom and fight stick. Rowan, you should not fight stick. That's my opinion. It's too short a time. That's all.
Yeah.
Chat. Hey, thank you for hanging out and reviewing that with us. Appreciate you all hanging out and making this fun for us as well. John, if you could give JG one piece of advice that you think has the best return on investment for his game, what would you do? What would you say?
I'd clean your dagger parries up and make them a little more efficient.
Okay.
I think you made a couple of parries that were a little big with the dagger, but your sword work I think is very clean, and your measure looked pretty good. But a couple smaller dagger parries and timing your sword shot off of a dagger parry a little better, because there were a couple times you had a great parry, and then your riposte was a little slow. So just
You only
like
get one, John. You only get one. No, I'm just kidding. You're right.
so timing that up a little better and then making the parry smaller. That would be what.
Yeah. Looking back to that, I was just super pleased to have made it that far.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh,
you
you're
can
looking
mess.
good. Looking good.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying some completely different stuff too, which was nice, and I've been merging that fight with what my traditional, ideal fight is. So my plan is something in between there that I'm gonna debut at Gulf Wars. So please, everybody that's going, come and fight me so I can test that out. And if I'm just talking shit and I can't back it up, then I deserved it.
Yeah. Excited. Yeah. Looking
Oh
forward to
my
it.
god, the instant story, the instant story, scoop and fling.
No. It's group it and fling. Let's be phonetically accurate here. John, you're gonna have to explain that one. This might not be the right venue to explain the scoop and fling.
I know what the scoop and fling is. I don't know what the scroop and fling is.
What the fuck is a scoop and fling?
The scoop and fling?
Yeah. Well, what does that mean? The on-screen
That's
scoop
what
and fling.
Dom calls the dagger parry throw. Like dagger parry throw a shot at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I assume he usually means it's done offensively, though. We do it like it's the same action defensively or offensively. If someone throws a shot, I'm going to parry or post with my dagger. But I
Right,
also
right.
look a lot for like if there's places where I can just basically lunge and at one time cover their sword with my dagger and hit them.
So
I
like
look
both
for that.
implements moving forward at the same or roughly the same
Yes.
time, as opposed to
Yes.
one and then the other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you don't want to
I
give.
agree.
You don't usually have enough time in a high level fight to give someone. But if you
Sure.
want, I am with one of my cadets, Leander. I'm teaching a sword and dagger class at Gulf Wars on Thursday after the Rose Onsinger and Rose tourney. I think it's Thursday.
Oh, dope.
Whatever days the Onsinger and Rose tourney is after that.
Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday.
Wednesday maybe.
Is that
Anyway, it's
traditionally
after
Wednesday?
it's after the Rose tourney. So if you
Yeah.
fight in the Rose tourney and you want to hang
Cool.
out, my student and I are teaching a sword and dagger class, and we're going to go over like our system on sword and dagger,
How to
So-
scoop and fling?
how to
Off
scoop and
style.
fling, or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck Dom called it a second ago. Scroop and fling.
Scoop and
Yeah.
fling. Yeah, yeah. Chat, thank you for hanging out. Hopefully, we'll see some or all of you at golf. If you want your videos reviewed, message me or message John directly. We're happy to watch footage of any kind and kind of talk to people about their respective fights. Always a pleasure, and always. And JG, thank you for letting us do that with you. It's a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah, it was fun, and thanks. That was good feedback, and it was online with how I was feeling coming out of Ymir.
Cool.
I'll kill you next time.
Yeah, I look forward to it,
Alright.
man. Your blade control makes me just not want to interact with your blade.
I know.
I don't want to. You,
and-
Tiberius, Enmar, I don't want to touch your blades at all. I'll be
True.
back here hiding from your blade and only
Yeah.
touching when I am actively gaining strength off of your blade.
Yeah.
The I'm seeing that more and more too as people are getting to know me, which is a huge bummer. Is that those swords are getting like more and more out of presence,
Mm-hmm.
and that creates fun new challenges too.
Yep, different
so I'm all
problems,
here
right?
for it.
Nope. For you, it's how do you? One of the things I think for your main blade, and this is for Enmar as well. If you're watching or if you're watching this at the VOD, to keep your main blade a little bit more vertical for coverage. That's one thing that I've learned along the way. It's a
Yeah, I'm playing with some angles that's kind of the direction that I'm going with stuff. But I don't want to give away my secret sauce right now.
you have secret. I don't have secret sauce. I put it all online.
I got a
My
I got a
sauce is
little
out
bit of
there in the world.
sauce. Well, I need to. For me, it's really important that I fact check, verify, and do it before I'm like, because I'm still relatively new at this fencing thing, and God knows I make a lot of mistakes.
You're what, 6 years in? Something like that? 5 years in?
I stopped in October 2018.
Okay. So yeah, 5 to 6 years. Almost exactly
That's
that.
a good while at this point, though.
Yeah. I was like, I'm on year 11, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
exactly 5 years
I'm-
ahead of you then, I guess.
I've got this constant existential dread about messing up people's brains.
Messing up people's brains.
Yeah, like one thing that I try to do is make sure, like, if I'm giving a piece of feedback or I'm talking to somebody, one, that they want it, and two, that it's gonna complement the thing that they're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And
got
sometimes, and since my game is evolving so much right now, I just sometimes am not comfortable giving that to people because, there isn't a silver bullet for every person that you're going to fight, but there are tweaks that you need to do. And sometimes those small tweaks can be really detrimental for a long period.
Yes. That is the willingness to take a couple of steps back. I had like a year and a half period where my win percentage just tanked compared to what it was prior and after. But now it's higher than it was. Just on those are the exact same thing. Those choosing to go and unlearn some habits and relearn other habits that are better for your game.
And to
and it
unnamed
sucks.
purple chatter, who I have no idea who that is, clearly, I'm not so much worried about giving bad feedback to a couple of excellent members in the community. I'm more worried that everything I say and do on the internet stays on the internet forever.
You know what? You get to watch this a year from now, 2 years from now, and then think, hey, is my fight the same? What's the same? What's different? And then was your perspective on the fight the same?
Yeah.
Because it'll change
So,
right, over time. What you
My
notice.
first video recorded ever was a fight with Ymir at Wolfow in like 2019, and I look at that like every 4 months.
Oh, just to remember
as
how
like,
far you've come.
just as like, yeah, well, to one, see how far I've come, and two, to make sure that I haven't just
Yeah.
red pilled too hard.
Right.
I mean,
Have you seen my
we
first
could pull
one?
up the first video of me fighting JG if we wanted.
Nope. Nope. It's a hard pass.
Fair
My
enough.
Um,
my first time in
Dom.
fencing, it was like one of my first sessions ever was recorded, and it's kicking
I
around the
don't.
internet.
I don't know any Doms.
All right.
There's no Doms in Atlantia.
There are no Doms in Atlantia.
I mean, there's never been while you've been
That's
around.
true. That's actually true.
So, Dom was briefly. Are we at the point where we can just riff for a few minutes?
Yeah, you're fine.
Sure.
Sweet, because I can't. Dom can't speak right now. While I'm speaking, he can only aggressively type, and this is like amazing.
Can't even aggressively that type because he might get banned
Oh,
again.
I forgot about that.
So
Yeah,
I met
careful about your caps, brother. That's
I met Dom at Ice Castles in 2018. It was my first event, and I had the opportunity to be on the three sword melee team with him, and that warped my fragile little mind because I had only been doing pickups mostly. Come out to this big event after seeing QRC, which is very like 1v1, and it was like, you can do what out here?
Yeah, that's fun,
It
right?
was awesome. But I don't think that he and I ever really got to do a pickup, and I'm still super bummed out about that, Dom.
He should be back sometime this year. Hopefully.
One day.
Yeah, come fight. You guys could have
He's a good man. Don't listen to what they say about your knees, Dom.
what? Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know. We'll definitely have a chance to cross
I'm
blades.
not bummed.
Oh, this
chat.
guy. This guy, I threw the olive branch and then he snapped it in half and peed
No,
on
he
it
used it
all
as
the way
a
from
stick to
Australia.
fight you.
Uh,
Chat.
Dom does legendarily hate lefties, so.
Yeah, it's true.
We
Like
meet
all
on
of
Tuesdays.
Taurus. Lefty Tuesdays. Chat. Tomorrow we have more fencing talk with the Athelmark fighters. We'll
Yeah,
have
the
Robert
Martians.
on, and we'll watch a bunch of footage from Adult Swim. And then one more reminder for those who weren't here earlier. On Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be doing a stream. I was going to say a podcast, but it's a stream on a winning mindset with Dom and Rowan and John. And I'm looking forward to that. So
Wait, is it 8 p.m.
8?
Eastern time?
It's whatever time the advert says. So chat, go look at the advert that all of us have posted at this point.
It says 6 p.m. and it doesn't give
6
a
p.m. EST. Great.
Eastern time, so that would be 5.
5
Central
your time.
time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting that. I don't remember what time. It's whatever the advert says. I trust it.
Don't
I'll just
listen
be
to
on for
Boomy's times.
For those who for those who've been around me, I live and die by the calendar that I have on my phone. Otherwise, I have no idea what's happening in my life.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. 10 a.m. on Sunday. Oh man, you get to have your coffee and be chilling. Hopefully, it's a relaxing time instead of being too early or too late for you. I'm pretty excited about
Not
this
like
one.
4 o'clock or what time did you have to get up to do the watch Crown?
Yeah, the crown one.
stream?
You were like early ass, right? That was like there's
That was
something.
good ground.
The crown was early ass for him.
I mean, for Australia, it was fine it was in on Stewart.
Okay, still early for a weekend day.
30. Yeah.
Not the worst. All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully see all of you tomorrow. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.